So I'll stop there right there. So I just want to say something. So I just want to make a comment on, on all the foolishness that we're seeing. Stand by. My battery was dying. I didn't want it to cut off in the middle of my video. So it's something I think people don't understand, right? You hear people screaming anti-Semite. You hear all these, you see all this turmoil going on, and it's not really that hard to. People like, I don't understand or whatever. It's not that hard to understand, right? It's just you have to understand certain key things, and one thing came to mind is that, and I'm going to make a statement: being a Christian by default makes you an anti-Semite, based on the new and ever-changing definition of the word Semite, which was created by the Antichrist, Zionists, white supremacist Nazi factions, probably about, I don't know, I'll say about 100 years ago. They changed the definition to Semite. By the real definition of the word Semite, the white people in Israel calling themselves Jews would not be considered Semites. And they try to make it very confusing. Because they are very satanic. They are satanic. They are of the synagogue of Satan, as it states in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9 in the Bible, and in other places like the book of Ezra and stuff like that. So in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9, it talks about the satanic Jew. In the Revelation of Ezra, in the prophecy of the end times of Ezra, it talks about the satanic white Christian. And you have to read these things to understand these prophecies. And so, which are now unfolding and make sense. They only do not make sense as if you don't have an education, you've never read these things. And so the Bible is against the false so-called Jews, right? And something we have to understand. Integration, the Bible is against integration. The Bible is against diversity programs and integration, right? And that's not a bad thing, right? It should make sense to you at this point. You know what I mean? Like, if things don't make sense to you at this point, you're just spiritually and intellectually dead. It wouldn't matter if you just dropped off the face of the earth. You're that stupid. And it is what it is, right? You are a zombie. You are a spiritual and intellectual zombie. And you have no purpose, right, in the world. None whatsoever. At this point, if you don't understand these basic things. And you are made for the fire, you see? And so, what we must understand is that everyone was not meant to be friends. Everyone was not meant to get along. Oil and water does not mix. It's not hate, it's reality, and the end is inevitable. Right? Let me say that again. Right? Everyone was not meant to be friends. Everyone was not meant to get along. Oil and water does not mix, right? That's science. It is not hate, right? It's just a reality that oil and water don't mix. And the result, and the end result is inevitable, and it's written in the Bible. You see? Integration has to be destroyed. I tried to explain this to somebody on a podcast a couple of days ago. And I think they kind of got, they didn't, they kind of got what I was saying. But I'll say it again. You were never made to be integrated with people. That was not how, you know what I mean? Like, sharks and tuna fish weren't made to be integrated. Lions and tigers aren't made to be integrated, right? Everything's not made to be integrated. That's not how the world works. I don't know where you get this from. Where you get this integration, diversity concept, where is it coming from? Where do you see? Because I mean, if integration and diversity is a concept that's logical, scientific, and makes sense, and it's going to go on forever, you have to ask yourself, where does it? The first thing you should ask yourself is, where does this exist in nature organically? It doesn't. Let's get to the point. It does not, right? You don't see an integration of like lions and tigers. You don't see an integration of, gorillas and, I don't know, moose, just weird shit going on where all these, this is an integration of just animals and nature or something, right? It just doesn't work that way. You don't see like cardinals and orioles and bluebirds integrating, right? Like 4 or 5 different kinds of birds in an integration program, a diversity program. They're just flying around and they generally stay to themselves. Like you'll see, like, you may look at a bird feeder and you'll see different kind of birds, but they're just kind of passing through, right? You might see some blue jays, some cardinals, some hummingbirds, right? But they're not running an integration program. They're not like all together trying to mate with each other, trying to live all together. No, the cardinals live over here with the cardinals. The blue jays live over here with the blue jays. The hummingbirds fuck and live over here with the hummingbirds, etc., etc. There's no integration program. The birds aren't trying to integrate with each other and be diverse. They just naturally diverse. Meaning, when you look at the fucking woods, they're all there in their own natural environment. Right? You see blue jays here. You see cardinals there. You see hummingbirds over there, right? They're not forced and mixed in together because that's not natural. And the Bible also states that integration will be destroyed in diversity. You see? You're not made to mix with everybody. The Bible tells you that. Jesus is a quote in Luke, and I'll quote Luke. I think it's Luke 24, I could be wrong, but it's in Luke. You can look it up if you really give a fuck. But in Luke, he says, the Christ gives a prophecy. He said, in the return of the Messiah, and I don't think he was talking about himself, but he said, during the end times when the Messiah returns, he says, I shall separate them one from another like the sheep and the goat. So Christ, in his infinite wisdom, said it himself. You don't see sheep and goat being integrated, do you? Not even on a farm. In a farm, they don't got the sheep and the goat together. They separate. The sheep is in their sheep pen, and the goat is in the fucking goat pen. You see? But it might be a farm. So where are you getting this from? It's a satanic, racist, colonial principle. Nazi principle. You see? Program. It's a Nazi, alien, white supremacist, racist program. That's all it is, programming. That's all it is. That's going to be destroyed by the Lord of hosts. You see? Made to confuse people, particularly the oppressed, right? So you weren't made to be mixed in with everybody. Integration and diversity is one of the most horrible crimes on the planet. It's almost criminal, for people to try to run a diversity integration scam on you. You see? Even Martin Luther King knew that. He said America was a burning house. You see, it was never going to work out. As you can see from the video that's playing. right? Oil and water don't mix, right? There will be no integration program with the Lord of hosts in the hordes of the Antichrist. They're not going to integrate. He's going to destroy them and separate them, just like he said in the prophecies in the Bible. In the book of Revelations, what does it say? He said New Jerusalem came down out of the sky and landed, a huge ship. And on the ship was 12 gates and doors. And at the gates there were 12 soldiers. And above those gates was written the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, right? And what was he trying to tell you with that? He was trying, and only those people would be allowed, the descendants of those people and those bloodlines would be allowed onto that ship through those gates. It's not an integration program, because those people all descend from each other, all connected, you see, and all the organic bloodlines of the earth. The others, the hybrids, the alien hybrids, the hybridized races, the heathen, will all be destroyed, either immediately or slowly through slavery and captivity, or being fed to aliens or whatever, you know, be blown up in the war that will take place. And integration will be ended. The only people that will be together are the organic tribes of the earth that was here organically. That's it. I don't see why it's so hard to understand. You were never supposed to be integrated. Oil and water does not mix. You see? So when you see these people arguing on the streets, and they got this flag, and there's a bunch of white people over here, they claim to be Semites. Semite means Afro-Asiatic people. Do any of those people swinging that motherfucking flag, swinging those flags, look like Afro-Asiatic people to you? I mean, it's possible if you look at Drake's son, or, you know, different, you know, look at Drake, you know, maybe it's some light-skinned motherfucker running around or whatever. But generally, do Afro-Asiatic people look like those people? Not at all. The majority, 90% of them, look like what the name says, Afro-Asiatic people. Right? There are exceptions to the rule. That does not change the rule. Okay? And so the result is inevitable. It's written in the Bible. I ain't gonna make this too long. But when I see these people, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It just confirms what I already know. That the result is inevitable. And that what the prophecy said is gonna come to pass. You cannot do what they did and not. Fake shit falls apart. This shit is going to fall apart. As it should. It was never supposed to, you know, exist. You know, I told the guy in the podcast, I said, what's the biggest group of Africans outside of Africa? Where do they exist? He said he didn't know. It's Brazil. And it happened because of the transatlantic slave trade. That was not organic. You destroyed the genetic map of the planet. You were not supposed to take millions, tens of millions of people into slavery and move them across the goddamn planet and then put their descendants in an integration program. I don't understand why that sounds weird. And they said, well, that's hate speech. Really? So, wait a minute, let me get this straight. So, enslaving people and killing them and genociding them, that's not hate. And then taking their descendants and putting them in a caste system at the bottom and fucking them over, right? That's not hate. That's all good. But if you say, that's wrong and it should be ended, well, that's hate speech. Make that shit make sense. Oh, that's hate speech. Hey, man, we strike your channel, man. That's hate speech, man. Integration, diversity. Well, that's not what the Bible says. See, that's why in America you have a bunch of satanic Negroes claiming to be Christian. I'm a Christian. Look at my cross. Look at my picture of white Jesus. Look at my crosses. Look at all this satanic shit in my house. These pictures of white Mary and all this foolishness. All the satanic, evil, antichrist foolishness. The Bible is not dealing with that. The Bible doesn't deal with integration programs. So where did you get that from? You got that from the devil. You see, and the Negro said, I live in America. I believe in this, that, and the other. Well, you don't believe in the Bible, though. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, well, what is it, a la carte? I take a little bit of Revelations, a little bit of Daniel, a little bit of Joel, a little bit of Hebrews, a little bit of, Judges, here and there, a little there, and the rest of it I don't fuck with. You people are terrible. You're a terrible person. You know what I mean? Just admit, if it's not you, I'm not talking to you, but I'm kind of ranting. But you have to be a terrible person, right, to claim to be something and then take an a la carte approach to, your so-called beliefs. That's why Christian is not a religion. Christian is a race of people. Right? When you see Christians that say that they're a religious group, this is a Nazi, white supremacist, antichrist, satanic group of people. Right? They claim, like the Negro, he claimed integration, he claimed diversity, he claimed feminism, he claimed he a political party, he claimed this and that. But when you come to the Bible, he said, wait a minute, I said, you a Christian? You're like, no, I'm, well, kinda. What the fuck you mean, kinda? Well, I don't like that verse right there that you're talking about. I believe in diversity. I believe in feminism. I believe in transhumanism. I believe in transsexuals. I believe in alphabet agendas. Well, the Bible is against all of that. I believe in Israel. Well, the Bible is against Israel. I believe, well, every fucking thing you believe, the Bible is against. How are you a Christian, sir? Ma'am? Madam? You shut up. You be quiet. I don't like you anymore. I bet you don't. That's hate speech. I'm going to report you to YouTube. I'm going to call the police. Right? I'm going to call your job. I'm going to see if I can get you fired. For what? Tell them the truth? Fucking get me fired? I mean, for what? I'm just saying. I could be an atheist, whatever, but what I'm saying is still true regardless. I'm not saying I believe any of this. I'm just stating true facts. Right? I could be playing devil's advocate. Right? But what I'm saying is still true. I could be a horrible person. Right? Like my family, this guy's a horrible person. I have people say, oh, you're a horrible person. What gives you the right to say that? Look at all the horrible stuff you've done in your life. Well, if you say so. Doesn't mean I'm not telling the truth. Right? Even a broke clock is right once a day. You see? But the end result is inevitable. I don't want to get off topic before I wrap this up. This is coming to an end. Just face it. As it should. You see? It has to come to an end. Right? There cannot be anything left, right? When this is over with, and it's about to get started, the party's gonna get started soon. But when this finally is over with, and it ain't gonna take that long, a lot of people not gonna even live through it. But the people that live through it will witness the end of this whole system. There will not be anything left of it, like the Bible says, the prophecies. Why? Because you can't have it. Like he said, I shall separate them. So I'm going to destroy your diversity, your integration, any remnants of Jim Crow, apartheid South Africa, colorism, all that will be wiped out. See, black people going everywhere. They trying to get away from racism. They in Latin America. They passport bros. They in Asia. You cannot escape this fucking devil. I'm sorry. That's the bad news right now. You cannot escape the Antichrist and the beast system that this devil has put across the planet, and he has infected the mind of the racist Hispanic and the racist Asian and the racist Indian in India. Fuck Gandhi. He was a racist who killed black people in Africa and called them niggers and savages. And he was a mercenary who worked for white people. You see, you understand? understand why this system has to be destroyed? The Indian heathen has been affected with white supremacy. He think he's a white man. The Hispanic think he's a white man. The black Candace Owens thinks she's a white woman. You see? The whole thing has to be wiped out, never to be seen again. And every remnant of it has to go. Just like just like the Christ said in the book of Luke. You see, in the book of Joel, right? He said, you have sold a girl, a little girl for a whore. And you have sold sold a little girl for a whore, for a bottle of wine. And you sold a little boy for a homosexual harlot. America. You see? In the book of Joel. And he said, for this, I'm going to destroy you. And you split up my land, and you took my people into captivity. You see? You silly Negroes who never read the book of Joel. Which is, by the way, the shortest book in the Bible, I think. It's only 3 pages, right? How fucking apathetic and lazy do you have to be that you can't read 3 pages, Negro? You see? And in that 3 pages, he explains to you, I'm going to destroy this place with an army for what you did. You see? Because none of that can exist when I'm finished. That's the word of the Lord of hosts, as he gave it in a prophecy as the people saw in the prophecy. Right? As the end was written in the beginning. You see in the book. And so, he's going to wipe this place clean. There will be no more remnant. And anybody that wants and that longs for this place, and anything that's a remnant of it will be burned along with it. It's going in that lake of fire. You a racist, white supremacist, Indian, Hispanic, Asian, Negro, you think you a white person? You believe in the Constitution, you believe in everything except the prophecies of the Most High, you going in that lake of fire, and you going to burn and be destroyed with this place never to be seen again, as it should be. You see? Because on the other side of that, you see, when we come out the other side, it's going to be purified and made white. Like it said in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, John of Patmos, John, looked into the future, and what did I see? I saw a new heaven, and I saw a new earth. You see? It's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, and the book of Revelation said it, and none of this shit will exist again. You won't be in a diversity program. You won't be in an integration program. You'll be in your own land, where your fathers is from. You see? You will be in your fatherland, where your fathers is from. The Brazilian blacks had to go back where they came from. The indigenous people got to go back where they came from. Some people, so that they can live in peace and harmony in their own land as they was meant to be, and some people going to be sent to their own land to be burned. You see? You have to be separated. You see? As it is written. Some for judgment and some for reparations. The book of Joel talks about reparations. You see? And the recompense shall be returned on the head of those who refuse the recompense to the Negro in America, as there should be. What's wrong with that? You see? The time has come. And so the reparations is not going to come from them. Reparations come from prophecy. The prophecy is the reparations. As it described in the book of Joel, you must understand, right? So I'm going to wrap this up, right? But oil and water don't mix. And the end is inevitable. That's all I got.